Hi, everyone. Welcome to back our class. And this is the sixth class. We were talking about the second part of the loop statements in chapter 5. So what's that? The last week we talked about the loop, right? Only one loop. But today we'll talk about nested loop, which we call that 潮状回圈, nested loop. So what is the nested loop? The loop can be written in another loop. So the loop will contain loop, right? So nested loop contains one outer loop. We call that in Chinese 外圈, and one or more inner loops. We call that 内圈, inner loops, right? So each time the out loop is repeated and the inner loop will also repeat it again. So you can guess and imagine how many times will, execute more, frequency, the out loop or the inner loop. Of course, the inner loop, because every time when the out loop increase once, then the inner loop will do the loop again, right? So before that, I want to give you an example. Yeah. Okay, for example, sometimes we have, when we process or handle the nested loop, we will do the inner loop first. For example, I want the inner loop to print 5 times. Yeah, and print. Okay, and print. This is the inner loop, and the I is I, right? I is I, right? Because I wanted the user to know what is the status now. So I do it now. So it is the inner loop, and I is from 0 to 4, right? And totally we have 5 times. And now I want it to be the nettest. So remember, when we want to do the nettest loop, we do the inner loop first, then we do the outer loop. So we will, choose all the inner loops code, and we can use the shift with the down, right? Just we copy this part and we use the temp, and all the inner part will have the 4 spaces here, and then we'll try to write the out loop. It means we want how many times the inner loop doing. For example, I want it to do maybe 3 times for J in range. Yeah, here I want it to be 3 times, right? So every time when we do the J, then I will tell the user here, print. Now it is the J loop. The out loop. Yeah, the outer loop here. The out loop here, J is J. Yeah. And according to, not confused, so we use the 1 to 4 maybe, and here we use the 1 to 5. It's more clear, right? Yeah. So we will see the situation just like this. Okay. So which one execute more times? Of course, the inner loop, because the outer loop here, J is 1, right? J is 1. Then we do the inner loop. The inner loop will from the 1 to 4. So the inner loop will execute 4 times, right? When it finishes, the control will back to the out loop, and the J will move to the 2, right? And the inner loop will do all the things they have to do again. And then the outer loop will become 3, and the inner loop will do it again. So totally, the inner loop actually do the outer loop is 3 and inner loop is 4. So totally, we can multiply the 4. So the total times is 12. So this part that I want to show you, especially I use the outer loop just like 3 times and inner loop just like 4 times. I just want you to know and don't be confused. So actually the inner loop will execute more times, right? So you have to know how many times you want to execute and in what kind of situation you control the inner loop or the outer loop. So in my opinion, my personal suggestion as a professor, every time I teach the lattice loop, I strongly recommend you to write the inner loop first, and because you have to know what is the first time you success, and we will do that loop, and then we will control how many times you do the out loop, right? So every time I will see the students to just type 4 and then 4. I don't think it is a smart skill or techniques or strategy, because you cannot make sure unless you are very familiar with the lattice loop. But actually, every time, especially you are initiated learner, I want you to try to make sure the inner loop is success, then you process the out loop, right? So now we will back to our textbook. Here, we will have a case study. So it's referred to your textbook. I think the textbook is about 145, right? And here we will handle a very, very popular example, especially when all the programmer handle what is the lattice. We will always use this as an example. We call that multiplication table. Yeah. So today we will try to demonstrate just like this multiplication table. Okay. So first we will handle, but actually we do not really do that because I want to give you the advanced version. So we will do it by my style. So please do not follow the textbook, follow my own.